Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today we listen. Paolo Zannoni's book, Money and Promises, 7 Deals That Changed the World, in which we probe into the intricate and evolving relationship between states and banks, showcasing how debt and finance shaped political and economic landscapes across different eras. Paolo Zannoni is the executive deputy chairman of the board of Prada, president of Prada Holding, and international advisor to the executive office of Goldman Sachs International. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. Today, we're diving into 3 captivating stories that showcase the powerful and often tumultuous relationships between states and banks throughout history. First, we'll explore the development of modern banking in 12th century Pisa, where a crisis of coinage led to an innovative use of promises and debts. Then, we'll travel to 17th century Venice, where a clever bullion trader proposed a new kind of bank to solve a post-war monetary crisis. Finally, we'll witness the establishment of the first public bank in North America by the Continental Congress, an experiment born from necessity during the American Revolution. These stories reveal how states and banks have long worked together, often in surprising ways, to navigate financial challenges and shape economic landscapes. Pisa's crisis of coins and the birth of banking. Our journey begins in the bustling markets of 12th century Pisa, a city facing a severe shortage of coins. The demand for silver and gold coins was outstripping supply, partly due to the peculiar practices of the local mint, which struggled to produce enough currency to keep the economy afloat. As trade flourished, the need for a more flexible form of money became evident. Enter the Compagnia di Parazzone e Donato, a small bank that pioneered the use of promises, or debts, as a new form of currency. In Pisa, a group of textile merchants and a banker named Parazzone found themselves entangled in a web of debts. Pietro, a dyer, owed Giovanni, a mill owner, 36 gold florins. Meanwhile, Beddo, a merchant, owed Pietro the same amount. However, with coins scarce, these debts could not be easily settled with cash. The innovative solution? Use the bank's promises to clear these debts. Parazzone recorded the transactions in his ledger, transforming these private debts into a form of money that could circulate within the local economy. The ledger entries effectively became as valuable as gold coins, allowing business to continue without the physical exchange of money. This story from Pisa shows how necessity and a little ingenuity led to the creation of bank money, a concept that would transform economies for centuries to come. As the Compagnia's ledger swelled with these entries, it was clear that something significant was happening. By turning debts into a medium of exchange, the bank was providing the liquidity that Pisa desperately needed. The promise of the bank became as good as coin, fostering trust and enabling continued economic activity despite the lack of hard currency. This story of Pisa is a vivid example of how the relationship between states and banks, though not always straightforward, can lead to innovative solutions to financial problems. Venice's post-war crisis and the rise of a new bank. Next, we move to 17th century Venice, a city reeling from the financial strains of the War of Gradisca. With the war over, the Venetian Republic found itself in a dire situation. The treasury was depleted, and there was a severe shortage of coins. Enter Zwain Vendramin, a sharp-witted bullion dealer who saw an opportunity amid the chaos. Vendramin approached the Senate with a bold proposal. He would sell his vast stock of silver to the mint, provided the government agreed to establish a new type of bank, one that would issue credit not just backed by coins, but also by the state's promises. Vendramin's proposal was a stroke of genius. He suggested creating a public bank whose debts would be fully backed by state guarantees and accepted as legal tender, much like coinage. This new institution, which came to be known as the Banco del Giro, would operate differently from previous banks by using state-backed credit to create new money, thus increasing the overall money supply. This bank could issue credits that were transferable and universally accepted within the Venetian economy, solving the liquidity crisis without the need for physical coins. As the book describes, the Banco del Quiro turned the floating debt of state agencies into purchasing power, enabling Venice to stabilize its economy post-war and set a precedent for future banking practices. The creation of the Banco del Quiro was not just a financial maneuver, it was a lifeline for the Venetian Republic. It allowed the government to continue functioning, pay its debts, and fund public works without resorting to punitive taxes or further depleting its limited reserves. This story demonstrates the vital role that banks can play in supporting state stability, particularly in times of crisis. It also highlights how financial innovation often arises from the need to navigate and mitigate economic challenges. The Continental Congress and America's first public bank. Our final story takes us to North America during the American Revolution. The newly formed Continental Congress faced a unique challenge, funding a war for independence without the backing of a fully functioning national treasury. Unlike established European states, the colonies did not have a tradition of centralized banking or easy access to vast reserves of gold and silver. To solve this problem, the Congress decided to create its own form of public banking, establishing the first public bank in North America, the Bank of North America. This was a bold and innovative move. The bank was authorized to issue notes that would serve as legal tender, effectively creating a new form of money backed not by gold or silver, but by the promise of the Continental Congress. As the book notes, the Continental Congress established the first public bank in North America against the historical backdrop of the limited use of coined money in the colonies. This new form of currency was critical for paying soldiers, procuring supplies, and maintaining the war effort. By leveraging its future revenues and using the bank's credit, the fledgling government could sustain itself through the war and beyond. The establishment of the Bank of North America was a radical departure from traditional banking practices of the time, reflecting a deep understanding of the power of credit and trust in an economy. It allowed the colonies to stabilize their finances during a period of intense uncertainty and set a foundation for future economic growth. This story illustrates how, even in the face of daunting odds, innovative financial solutions can emerge to meet the needs of the state and its citizens. Each of these stories highlights a different aspect of the intricate dance between banks and states, showing how both entities have evolved and adapted to meet the changing demands of their times. From Pisa's innovative use of promises to Venice's strategic creation of a state-backed bank, and finally, to America's bold experiment in public banking, we see a continuous thread of adaptation, ingenuity, and mutual reliance. As we move forward, understanding these historical dynamics can provide us with valuable insights into the future of finance and statecraft. As the editor of Hardly, by learning from these stories, we can envision a future where innovative financial systems and state policies continue to evolve together, adapting to new challenges and opportunities in ways we have yet to imagine. 7 deals that changed the world. 1. Pisan promises, the growth of obligations. 2. Venetian ledgers, news on the Rialto. 3. English tallies, a new kind of money. 4. Neapolitan charity, banking for the poor. 5. The écu de marque, a supranational currency. 6. American dreams, the Bank of North America. 7. Bolshevik bank money, the unlikely combination of capitalism and communism. The relationship between states and banks is a complex, evolving dance, defined by their mutual dependency and shaped by historical necessity and innovation. Each story we've explored reveals a unique moment where this relationship was tested and reshaped. From Pisa's inventive solution to a coin shortage, Venice's strategic creation of a state-backed bank, to America's revolutionary financial experiment, we see the continuous interplay of financial creativity and political strategy. Another compelling story comes from 18th century England, where the Bank of England was founded in 1694. This institution wasn't just a bank, it was a financial innovation that allowed the state to issue debt in exchange for public confidence. Using a system of tallies, wooden sticks used to record debt, the bank created a new form of money. The tallies represented the financial obligations of the state to its citizens, showing a profound evolution in how states managed their finances. This system allowed the English government to finance wars and expand its influence globally, all while maintaining public trust in its currency. These narratives underscore a pivotal point. States and banks have always been bound by a shared fate, where the success of one often hinges on the innovation and resilience of the other. By understanding these historical examples, we can better appreciate the foundational principles that continue to govern modern finance and state relations. As the editor of Hardly, by learning from these stories, we are reminded that the future of finance and governance will require the same spirit of adaptation and innovation that has defined their past.